It's time for Inside the Gamecocks, the show with Phil Mullinax and JC Sherwood.
So, how many of you would say you speak English fairly well, but with some difficulty?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
You play to win the game.
Now, let's take it away, JC and Phil.
Big sack for the Gamecocks, J.J. Inigbari. Walks it up, looking for Kelly. Touchdown! Can you believe it?
And now, it's time for some Gamecock football.
To the 25, 20, 15, 10. Rogers scores! Dindy, and Dindy spins into the open, and he's on his way. It's a tie-ball game if they can get the extra point. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown board, the second of the day.
There's never been more excitement about South Carolina football than there is right now.
I've heard all the stories of the great George Rogers out back in 1980. He made the whole nation holler. And I've seen that photograph of young Steve Tannehill up in old Death Valley signing his name on the field. Yeah, and I love the year 2001 if it Williams, Bryce, Raw. Oh, what else can I say? I'm just a big old car. I come from a long line of cocks just like me.
All right.
Stop believing despite
morning. Thanks to Jamie Bradford for putting that together for us.
Yes, thank you.
Kind of similar for the JV Goldwater last year. We this is not necessarily the big Gamecock preview show, but you get the idea. A little sound mix to get you going on a Friday. The sweet relaxation of a Friday afternoon or Friday morning, if you will. We'll head into the afternoon. I always like Fridays. I walked around yesterday, Phil, after that bizarre, awesome show we had yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, yesterday was a daggum tour de force. You had GA right off the top.
Mm-hmm.
Great interview. And Chris Phillips always brings it. Excuse me, I'm having the hiccups a little. I hope this doesn't happen the whole show. Hiccups are terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, somebody needs to scare me or something. Boom.
Boom.
And then all of a sudden, the Nana's Porch chat box gets out of control. And then we start talking about different ways for Todd Ellis to call touchdowns.
That's right. Just everything flies off the rails. We had a great time, though, man.
It was so fun. So fun. But, I kind of walked around yesterday. We had to go to high school football game last night. Had to take some coaches to task last night or this morning, high school coaches around my neck of the woods about our kid. But and I'm not that kind of guy. I just you guys know, I mean, I kind of sometimes I know what I'm looking at, and it's baffling to see certain decisions, but who knows? I probably need to go to practice, see how the kid's practicing. But that's kind of the thing there with that. So I had a weird day yesterday. Kept thinking it was Friday because I was in a high school football stadium, and it wasn't. It was Thursday, and I was like, kept thinking about, hey, I got to get up and watch the Gamecocks tomorrow, and no,
not yet. Yep.
But I'm at peace and relaxed today, Phil. I just I feel kind of good about the game, better than I did earlier this week. Of course, I think everybody does that. Like right. Mondays, there's no shot. Better get better in a hurry. This is ridiculous. And everybody's so grumpy about the week before. by Wednesday, everybody's like, oh, hold on, now we probably can win. And then, and then
Not bad. Yeah.
you hear the different breakdowns of the game, the analysis. Scott Van Pelt, I think, has Arkansas an upset alert tomorrow. I don't think any of our other media friends will probably do that because they've been kind of pro Arkansas offseason, and for good reason. Arkansas's got a really good team and a good program and two good coordinators. And if you look at what happened, last week, they beat a good Cincinnati team. Was not flawless. Neither was the Gamecocks. And I think the Gamecocks beat a good team as well. But when you've been through the years of offensive ineptitude, you're kind of hopeful when you add those parts, if you're following the program, that you get more than 306 yards of total offense, against a group of 5 team. That being said, other teams have struggled with Georgia State and lost or almost lost. Gamecocks won by 21. So, get that game. Don't schedule them again as long as Sean Elliott's there.
Yeah, right.
Down the road maybe, but that was a brutally tough night on offense. But went back and watched it. We're going to talk to Michael Flynn second hour, and he's my understanding is he's gone through the game tape. He's broken some things down as far as the blocking goes. And I'm curious to see what exactly he says, but the gist of it to me is, and the coaches said this too, it wasn't all on the offensive line. The offensive line did not play well. Let's not make excuses, right? But the blocking on the perimeter, Phil, and we were talking about this before we launched the show today, that I think Carolina could have had 150, 200 more passing yards, maybe not quite that much, with better blocking on the perimeter because they tried to, kind of throw those bubble screens and stuff, and they kept getting blown up. And guys there's one play where two guys, Jaheim Bell and Josh Fan, both missed both just whiffed on blocks. And it was either Juju or I think Juju was the one that had the ball. Maybe not, maybe somebody else. And, it could have been 20, 30-yard gain, but the execution wasn't there. So, and like I said, I said this on the Big Spur, I said it this week, and, as many questions as I've had the last 2 seasons, this one included, I'm just the Beamer era about Satterfield and his scheme, as far as the play calling goes, I can't really fault, look, philosophically, sometimes, you want to line up and smash a team that's going to be active and the fire ant type defense, right? But you looked at it, and if the receivers had blocked better, the receivers that caught the ball on the edge, they'd have still been running in many cases. They could have had several huge explosive plays. And so the good news is, Phil, that those types of things like perimeter blocking are easily correctable in practice.
Right. Yeah.
You've seen the guys out on the edge block better before. So, receivers they will have a chance, I think, Saturday, if Rattler's on and can get some time, to have big games, catching the ball, running the ball, all that. But they have to kind of work in cohesion, in my opinion. And the ones that don't get their number called, they need to get out there and block.
Right. Yeah, that's your job.
I understand if Amarian Brown isn't the best blocker out there, right? He's not a big guy.
Yeah, that's not his game.
The rest of these guys, Juice is 200 pounds. Wells is Juice is Wells. Van is 200 pounds. Xavier Leggette's 215. Jaheim Bell, when he's out there, is a big guy. So, there's really no reason they shouldn't be able to block a little better. And if they do, and those plays are there because you attack everybody different, right? Carolina could have a successful game. So looking back at it, and we're going to talk to Flynn about it. We're going to talk to him about the scheme. He's been breaking film down. Bless him. He played the game, and so he knows. So we're going to talk to him at noon, top of the second hour, and then in between now and then, it'll be me and Phil kind of talking about the game, and we're also going to get into I forgot to do 2 things. The poll. The poll's up today on thebigspur.com, also on Twitter. It's very simple. Will South Carolina pull the upset Saturday? Yes or no?
No other option. Yeah.
Carolina faithful, cocky faithful says, gun to my head, no. Garnet glasses, yes. And so we got that. And then I think so far, from what I've read, the yeses are ahead, Phil.
Mm-hmm. A lot of positivity out there. Yeah, a lot of positivity.
Kind of like that thing where, as the week goes on, fans get more positive. BigSpur.com with 58 votes so far. 56.9% say yes. 43.1% say no. And that's kind of the balance on the Big Spur between there's a lot of people in the middle that are level-headed. It's 80% of the fan base on that site. And then 15% never, or 20% don't ever want to hear any, or 80%. So 10% never want to hear anything negative, and 10% never have anything positive to say. So, the middle ground here is fluctuating towards the Gamecocks have a chance, and I agree with them. Would I pick them to win? Probably not, because I always have a hard and fast rule. I pick things based on what I've seen. Now, I know my prediction last week was out of control. And this is another reason why I hate making picks, because my philosophy has always been there's a scenario where you can win in most instances. There's a scenario where you won't, and football is all about how those scenarios play out within the course of a game. I'd much rather play the spread because I can do that better, right, than just giving a score prediction. But anyway, I do it because people ask me to do it, and that's fine. And last week I hadn't seen anything, so I was basing it on guesses, and I was completely wrong. So, we'll kind of see what's happened. So there's the poll question. Hour number one, as always, is brought to you by Sidney Searfoss Realtor, Caldwell Banker Kane, my hometown of Spartanburg. Please take advantage of her services. She's a proud sponsor of the Inside the Gamecocks podcast. You can see her. Sometimes we promote her on social media, on our Instagram page at Inside the Gamecocks, also on Twitter at the Big Spur Pod, and on Facebook, facebook.com/Inside the Gamecocks. Or you can actually just type in InsideTheGamecocks.com. Actually, I think that takes you to YouTube now. Never mind. Yeah. That takes you the YouTube page that we have. We also stream on YouTube. Please go hit subscribe on that page. Many of you, hundreds of you have, and we appreciate that. Also appreciate our Arkansas fans who have been interacting on the YouTube page.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of really nice folks, a lot of complimentary folks. So that's a good thing right there. All right, Nana's Porch chat box, which it's kind of our, I don't know, ground. What it's Shakespeare, like when they did the plays at the Globe. What were they called?
Was it groundlings?
Was it groundlings?
Groundlings, yeah.
There are groundlings, the rowdy groundlings, right here in the Nana Sports chat box. The chat boxers. I need to get like some, maybe a pin, you can put on your shirt or something.
Yeah, chat boxer.
To the chat boxers. I don't know. We'll do that down the road once we get syndicated and all that. Anyway, Craig is always early in. The Carolina Empire is actually the first one in. Good morning. Craig says, Friday, boys. John says, good morning, all. Swaying on TBS. John, Pacific Northwest, was one of several of the show's listeners that catch the show in the Pacific time zone. So what time does that come on in the Pacific time? It's at 8 o'clock. 8 a.m.
Bright and early.
We are a morning show in Seattle. Tim says, good morning. BJ, it's game day Friday, y'all. Let's bring the positivity today and go Cox.
That's right.
Jared says 25 hours to kick. Let LFG Cox.
Mm-hmm.
Tim was talking about the Patrick Davis song at the beginning. Says that's a Hall of Fame song right there. It is. Yes, and I want to mention this to Tim here. The first time I heard that song, I was outside of the Williams-Brice Stadium. Somebody had it set up. I don't know if it was Patrick Davis himself or what, but somebody had a CD set up or whatever. I guess there were still CDs back then, right? In 2009, before the Clemson game. If you guys remember, Carolina was 6-5 going into that game. Clemson had just won the ACC Atlantic for the first time in their program's history. They were favorite coming in. CJ Spiller returns the opening kickoff for a touchdown. But the Gamecocks, that day, the first day I heard that song, started that 5-game winning streak with a pretty dominant 34-17 win over the Tigers. So I'll never forget the first time I heard that song. I've heard it obviously a bunch of times since, but certainly always a classic and all that. Clint says, "Happy Friday, guys. Been under the weather the last few weeks for a few days, but I'm back. Welcome back, Clint.
Welcome back."
Woo. Craig says, "Hope you're feeling better, Clint." Of course, Josh, Teacher Josh. I'll call him Teacher Josh because I know Josh a little bit. He's a Spartanburg guy. All right. Happy Friday, boys. Go Gamecocks. Beat the bacon out of those pigs.
We will see. Bacon, yeah.
Speaking of bacon, Phil, I got a text from a buddy that lives in Tallahassee, and everybody's fired up. It was on Sunday, the day they played.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
LSU. It's a road game, so people there say there's apparently a diner that he goes to, and it's something like the Dino's Diner breakfast special. It's 10 strips of bacon and a 24-ounce Budweiser. Bud Heavy, no doubt. The one with the poem on the side of it.
I'm sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Famous Budweiser beer. We know of no other. Whatever. It's like a beer preamble that's printed on the side of that can. So 24-ounce Bud Heavy and 10 strips of bacon.
That's reminiscent of the Burgess Meredith character in Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah, bacon. Daddy O says 0 reason we shouldn't be rocking and rolling on offense. Look, man, there's some chances. Arkansas's got a good defense now, and Odom is a good defensive coordinator. He's going to scheme them up, but and look, just like Carolina can improve from week 1 to week 2, so can Arkansas on that side of the ball. They will be missing some DBs, but like I've said all week, they're replacing talent with talent. And so we'll see what happens there. Carolina Empire says the offense is going to have to drastically improve to beat Arkansas. Yeah, I think the key there, it may come with the perimeter blocking a little bit. Obviously, the line just can't get beat, right? The offensive line. And they need to be able to try to run the ball. But I also think, there's a certain type of way they could attack it. And if Rattler's on and the receivers are catching the ball, there's some creativity there, balance. I can see Carolina having a good day on offense.
It's just one of those games. I think too. You're gonna have to throw to open up the pass. I mean, to open up the run in this one. You're gonna have to pass to open up the run. Because I think it would be foolish to not try to attack the middle of the offensive line. And be in Rattler's face, seeing what is coming off of film. So we're gonna have to do better fundamentally on the edge because that's where you're going to have to throw the ball to the perimeter, and then we got to block. Get it out quick.
And I think when you're able to run quick game and tempo and throw it out at the perimeter and get to go fast, that's when things downfield can open up for you too.
Oh yeah,
it's not just run, throw it over the top like Georgia used to do under Mark Richt out of the eye. I mean, that's kind of, I don't know. Daddy O has an idea. Touchdown, Carolina. Ooh, Barracuda. This is going to go on all year, right?
That's right. I love it.
VJ says if the offense comes up with at least 5 explosive plays in the game and the defense and special teams win the turnover battle, USC wins. Turnovers are something we probably hadn't talked about enough here this week, Phil, because you go on the road, you turn the ball over. That's a recipe for disaster. So Rick says 24 hours to go. Be sure to wear whatever you had on for last week's game. What's everybody's game day superstition? I like to have brunch if I'm watching on TV. If not, if I'm at the game, I always have to go by my friend Rod's condo. Even if I'm not primarily, I prefer to primarily just hang there most of the time. But got to go by Rod's, and our guest coming up. He has a condo right across from Rod's. And so if I'm at the game, that's like the last 3 times I've been there. That's been a must for me. I had a great conversation with Brad Lawing there before the 2018 Tennessee game. He was hanging out with Rod and his friends, and that's always a great time. So that's kind of my superstition. I've always worn kind of different things to games, or on game day. I don't even always have Carolina stuff on. So that's not been something that I've done. And of course, you have the hair situation, Phil.
Yeah, right.
I'm not cutting it until Carolina loses a game, and hopefully, Hopefully, I won't have to go to Great Clips on Sunday morning.
Right. Let's hope that haircut comes in December.
Yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying this. Mike Morgan is calling the Chicago Bears game, the home opener against the 49ers on Sunday on national radio. So he's going to be in town Sunday. So I've got kind of a quick turnaround from Saturday's festivities to getting downtown and meeting up with him after the game. Nobody ever comes and sees me when I'm up here. So it's good to see Mike. Hey, we'll miss you guys.
Glad work brought him. Yeah, work brought him to you. Yeah.
Yeah, but I told my fiance, I was like, look, a loss on Saturday. I'm getting out the Clippers, and you just take care of it.
Just take care of it. That's right. That's right.
Just take care of it. Lucky T says we have to be better supporters of our team if we want them to get better. I agree to a certain extent, but I also think that I think last weekend, Lucky, I mean, shoot, that's the biggest crowd for a group of 5 game in a while. I mean, even an opener, so, I mean, but I understand like the positivity, negativity angle and all that. And fans on the internet are always going to kind of be of any school. They're going to be split down the middle. And honest, what's crazy about it, having worked in this business for a while, when you meet people that like are kind of jerks as posters, many times they're very nice people, like in real life. They use the websites and Twitter or whatever as kind of an outlet, but they're super duper people. And then sometimes you're people that are like overly positive. They're not.
Right. Yeah.
They're not. I mean, you meet them in real life and you're like, you're kind of a butthole, sir. Can I say butthole? I guess butthole's I guess I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
Anyway, Raheem says, Raheem Sprinkle, quick history question. I'm sure we weren't the first, but we were one of the first teams to mix up uniform combos and colors. When I look at older highlights, I see combos ahead of their time. Back in the day, Raheem, like in the 80s, I thought the 80s in a lot of ways, or maybe the golden years of Gamecock uniformdom.
Right.
Because you had the black jerseys and, Joe Morrison came along. He started emphasizing the black and the garnet. The 84 team wore all garnet, I think, a lot of the time, garnet helmets. And then 87, 88, you had the black jerseys at home with the garnet helmets and white pants. Many people think that's the best uniform combo in school history. So, South Carolina mixed and matched. And last weekend, we had a fastball, right?
Yeah.
Because, and look, for the record, Chris Phillips wasn't wrong about the uniform combo. He said, he had a good source, and I think they just switched it up at the end, right? Decided whatever, it's like, and they ended up going with the black helmets and all garnet at home. So we'll see what they come out with this weekend. My guess is probably Stormtrooper look.
Yeah, Stormtrooper. I like that look. Yeah,
I do too. That's my favorite road uniform, and I think just because of when I came up, the 80s, 1987 home jerseys with the black jerseys with Gamecocks on the front and the garnet helmet. That's kind of my favorite. But you could ask 20 different Gamecock fans what their favorite uni combo is, and you're going to get 20 different passionate answers.
That's right.
Passionate answers.
Plenty of opinions about it. Yeah.
So, thanks, Raheem. Appreciate it. Clint says, I would like to see Rattler use his legs a little more to get yardage. He's a capable runner. I agree.
That's one of my keys to this game.
Go.
Rattler's got to be more involved in the run game.
Get a little zone read. They have zone read and stuff like that in the playbook. They ran some in the spring game. I think Satterfield was actually asked about that, about Rattler getting involved in the run game. And he's like, he just kind of said, yeah. So Craig says, may go get a few dozen oysters for mid-morning.
Oh.
Yeah, see, so the brunch place we go to up here that has the oysters on the half shell, it's way far. Because you got to be careful. You can't go in there and have brunch and watch a game. But love me some oysters. But, back in South Carolina, I'm all over that. John says his superstition is do chores around the house like a maniac to build positive mojo. I've actually done that before, too, before a game. I'll get up with a honey-do list a mile long and my butt is grass if I don't get it done.
Right.
But it kind of feels good because it kind of takes your mind off. I'm not a big game day guy. I'll have it on, but I don't necessarily always watch it. Some people swear by it. I don't necessarily always watch it. I don't necessarily always watch the Fox pregame show either. I'm like, let's let the action start, right?
Right. Yeah. It might be background noise for me, or switch between it and the SEC game day.
Yeah. Like if South Carolina, now if game day comes to South Carolina next weekend, which little birdie told me could happen. Then
scenario, I could see that happening.
Yeah. then I'll have it on the whole time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a good one, John, right there. Just get that done. And then like when you sit down and watch the game, finally it's nice and clean. It smells good in the house, the trash is out, the lawn's cut.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy says he listened to Carolina calls last night. The audio was terrible. Was that on my end or just theirs? I don't know. I didn't listen.
Not sure. I didn't catch it either.
I followed John Whittle's very awesome live updates. Noah said, seems like both teams may be missing some safeties, and they seem to have backups with experience. And we will be trotting out some promising but not yet proven true freshmen. That's true. I mean, there's no way around it. Curious to see what Nick Imanwari does this weekend, because I thought he had a spectacular debut, but he is a true freshman. And it is on the road and, all that good stuff. But he is 6'4", 220. And a heck of a play. I mean, I think that guy could be special in time. But that's a valid concern, Noah. I mean, because Kendall Browse and the Arkansas offensive staff, they're probably sitting there going, okay, 21 is a true freshman. Let's see if we can go after him a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Colin says, will we employ any read option or RPO read option? They have stuff in their playbook. The playbook's very vast. And now the wishbone is in the playbook.
Yep.
Read option RPO. They did run some RPO last week. They're not a huge RPO team. I sort of wish they maybe would do more of that. I think that kind of fits Rattler's skill set, but maybe not. Maybe not. They didn't run, believe it or not, at Oklahoma, from what I was told. Lincoln Riley is not a big RPO guy. He more calls it and hauls it or whatever. Colin says, I believe Sad is not a fan, but wanted to ask. Bills sure did use it and looked great. Yeah, I wonder if he watched the Bills versus the Rams, all this Rams talk all off season.
Yeah, it did not inspire confidence in me watching the Rams offense last night.
Joel says, I do not know what Carolina offense is showing up. When was the last time the offense put together 2 consecutive good to great games under Satterfield? Never.
Nope, not yet.
Not through 14 games. Chris says he feels like Georgia State may take UNC down.
That is entirely possible.
I think that's going to be one of those really high scoring games. Because I think with what the Tar Heels do on offense and sort of, I don't know. If Sam Howell were the quarterback, I'd say Drake May is not the most fleet of foot. So if they harass and attack him and he can't get passes off and they can't run the football that well, and then their defense is freaking horrible. I mean, who knows what will happen? Yeah. I don't know, man. North Carolina's a 7.5 point favorite last time I checked. I'm probably taking the Panthers to cover in that one. And that has nothing to do with them playing Carolina last week. I've watched 2 weeks now of North Carolina football. I think they're asleep at the wheel to a certain extent, especially on defense. And here they go play Georgia State. It's going to be a big game for the Panthers at home at the stadium formerly known as Turner Field. And Elliott and their staff, they're going to look at the South Carolina game and go, okay, we can build on that.
Right. Yeah. Plenty of good here. Right.
Yeah. But I expect a pretty high scoring football game in Atlanta between those two. VJ says, with a win at Fayetteville, JC should dye the mop garnet, and Phil should wear a garnet wig leading up to the UNGA game next weekend. Yeah. Belmont, I'd do that. And then the next thing you know, I'd get emails from 5 different Carolina fans going, it's the wrong shade of garnet.
Yeah, you got the wrong color.
Daddy O says the 80s were the golden years for a lot of things in life. Agreed?
Yep.
Agreed. 80s and 90s. You know. Tim says, touchdown Carolina, touchdown Spencer Rattler. I drive a Dodge Stratus. Drew asked, do you think Rucker will play this year? I think it's a fair question.
Yep.
Maybe I'm thinking they get him back after Kentucky, probably, because there's that open week between Kentucky and A&M. If they do, if it lingers, he could redshirt, and it stinks because he's a good player. But that probably also means he returns next year, and they probably going to need him.
Right. Yeah.
Drew says also, how do you see the snaps playing out with Christian Beal-Smith and Lloyd? I think Lloyd's going to continue to get snaps. I think what will happen with that is the carries, the inside carries. Juju McDowell was getting the other night. They'll kind of use him more like they used him in the bowl. And Beal-Smith will kind of be the inside deal. Game day would be Carolina or Miami and A&M. Looking at the schedule, agreed.
Yeah.
Clint says we'll get game day, assuming that Georgia beats Samford.
Fingers crossed.
Garrett says App State A&M is a good game to keep an eye on. App State's good. A&M better not overlook them. I don't know. I don't know. It's out there.
Yeah, if A&M were dumb enough to go play in Boone, I'd say it's going to be closer, but something tells me.
Well, and if you're App State, see, you played your butt off last week against the in-state, the big boys in-state, and you lost in excruciating fashion.
Oh, yeah.
Now you got to go out there to Aggie Land. I don't know. But I'll keep an eye on it, Garrett. You're probably on some. I think it's an intriguing game.
Well, let them start slow, and then if Fat gets on top of them early, it'll be a game at the halftime. But I just don't see that defense allowing them to continue to move in the second half,
Queasy says he wants to see the Killer Jays, Juice, Josh, Jaheim, Jalen, Juju, with a side of Lloyd CBS. I called the Georgia State upset first. You did, buddy. You did. Congratulations. John goes, field goal Mitch Jeter, boots with the fur. All right, we got to stop. We got to quit. This is going to go off the rails again. Man, 30 minutes has flown by.
Yeah, it has.
The Nana Sports chat box. When we get back, Phil's going to tell you about Manscaped. I'm going to tell you this right now. You can get wonderful Manscaped products by using code Big Spur, 20% off, free worldwide shipping, manscaped.com. But Phil's going to kind of break down some of the products. When we return, don't forget Michael Flint, Heavy X's and O's Talk, coming up at the top of the hour. But for now, we're going to give you these messages from our sponsors.
Just as your State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home, auto, life, or small business insurance with Tony Pope State Farm Insurance today. And guess what you'll get? That's right, even more good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, Tony Pope State Farm is your go-to agent anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining your home, life, auto, and or small business insurance today. Tony Pope State Farm has been in business for more than 30 years and can handle anything you need in the tri-state area. Once again, Tony Pope State Farm will help you mix and match perfectly. Call 843-851-2222 or visit TonyPope.com today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
If you're a listener, I feel strongly that if you're in the upstate and are in need of real estate services, Cindy Searfoss is your go-to person. Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane can help you with any of your realty needs right there in the upstate of South Carolina, Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Oconee, Pickens, wherever you are. Cindy can help you with that. She's married to a diehard Gamecock fan, has been in the upstate for more than 35 years. Right there in my hometown of Spartanburg, Daniel Morgan Avenue. Contact Cindy, 864-414-5271, or email csearfoss, CSEARFOSS, at cbcaine.com, CBCAINE. That's Cindy Searfoss, a proud sponsor of the Inside the Gamecocks podcast. Check her out. We've already gotten several emails from listeners that are very impressed with her professionalism and her ability to help you with your real estate needs. 864-414-5271, Cindy Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of RE/MAX at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON at remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Attention golfers of all ages and skill sets. Former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor will be a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina very, very soon. You want to take advantage of this opportunity. If you're like me and you got to get a whole lot better at golf, or even if you're looking to refine your swing, Meredith is the person you need to go to. She's competing in her final USGA Mid-Amateur Tournament this summer before going full-time into teaching and coaching individuals. If you're in South Carolina, Meredith will be conducting in-person golf lessons at the Country Club of Lexington, hour on course. She'll play 9 or 18 with you. If you're out of state, though, this is really exciting. She'll be conducting virtual lessons. You can send in your swing for her expert analysis. Also, in November, she'll launch an online course with video instruction for all ages and skill levels. Meredith has 20-plus years of knowledge, former SEC golfer, all of that. So contact her on Twitter at Mertaylor, at MERTAYLOR, or go to McKellarEnterprises.org. McKellar is spelled MCKELLAR, Enterprises.org. Her email's on the website, so you can connect with her for any other questions. Go get your golf game in order. Take advantage of Meredith Taylor and her services. I used to be president of the United States, and I love the show with Phil and JC.
Welcome back, everybody. Just wanted to remind you that we are sponsored by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle, the Performance Package. And I know I'm enjoying mine. JC, I believe you have also had some good success with yours. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So y'all joined over 5 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free shipping with the code BIGSPUR at manscaped.com. That is 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com by using the code BIGSPUR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the right job with Manscaped.
Awesome. Yeah, 20% off, free worldwide shipping. You want to protect. You want to protect. I'm thinking about Manscaped, and all I can think about is like protection, you know?
Yeah.
You want to support our podcast. That actually helps us, keep things up and running. And you get a great product, free shipping, 20% off. Just use our code so we can get credit for it.
Yep.
Poll update. 58.5% on Twitter. 200 votes on Twitter. 58.5% say yes, the Gamecocks will pull the upset. 41.5% say no. So that's trending towards yes. Probably, without giving away company secrets, probably why I put it on Friday and not Monday. On BigSpur.com, we have, 64 votes so far. I didn't even have Big Spur people to vote in these things. 59.3 say yes, 40.6 no. So those are trending 60% toward Gamecocks pull the upset on Saturday, obviously. Want to thank Cindy Searfoss for sponsoring the first hour. Also, we will be going to the Meredith Taylor guest line, top of the hour, to visit with Michael Flint.
Mm-hmm.
Wando. You can catch his segments if you don't catch him live and you don't catch the podcast version. You can always go to YouTube, and we have tabs on there now, and it says Wando's World for all his breakdowns. We also got the interview with G.A. Mangus up there from yesterday. I really would encourage you to go check that out. We have all of the Mental Edge with Sawyer Nix, Keith Allsep's up there. Got to get a Chris Phillips video up there. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. But Chris and all the media people, Brad Crawford, whoever we have on, we usually put them right there in categories. So check that out. www.youtube.com/thebigspur. Continuing on, Nana's Porch chat box. Jared says, do you think Bama covers this week? Yeah, I almost feel like that's a lock. And look, maybe I'm being too hard on Texas. Maybe I'm thinking about Texas last year or like the last 10 years?
Listen, Bama covers easy and Texas looks like a fool. That's my hot take.
I think they are going to have a hard time in the SEC if things don't change in Austin. But it's there's some Bama fans going out for the game. I mean, heck, you can't beat hanging in Austin and watching the game and 6th Street and all that good stuff. So that ought to be a good atmosphere. But if you're a Longhorn fan, probably just get the painful whipping out of the way and go get you a beer and hang out. So
everything's still in front of you, Texas, when you lose this game by 35 points.
Still win the Big 12.
Yeah,
it's just going to be disappointing, and I feel bad. I'm kind of a Matthew McConaughey fan. I like Matthew McConaughey. As an actor, entertainer, appreciate he's a college football fan, but I just feel bad for him. Because that's going to be an absolute slaughter.
Yeah.
We wait. Just wait. Happy has a good idea here, Phil. Personally, I'd like to see DJ Twitty used at fullback, freeing up Bell to be used on the perimeter. Yeah, no, they've used Bell at fullback works, I think, sometimes in short yardage. I like it. And in certain situations, I don't mind them using them here. I would like to see Bell kind of out wide, especially if they're having problems with blocking out there. Jaheim, he missed a block the other day. But Jaheim's a capable blocker. He's a big guy. I like
such a downfield threat too. I mean, get him out there and throw the damn ball.
I like DJ Twitty. I liked him in the spring game. Transfer from East Tennessee State. Also played at Chapman High School, home of Deebo Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
So Lance goes, I just wanted to see this team show up and play their asses off, win, lose, or draw.
Yep. Same, Lance.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Twisted Chicken says, boom, here comes the boys from South Carolina. He's fired up. Happy. Bill Clinton is a huge fan of Manscaped. I'm sure he is.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Too. And then Monica, here we go.
Yep.
John says, Texas defense is buttery soft. Queasy says, not meaning to be political, but I keep thinking you guys are saying Michael Flynn instead of Michael Flynn. I'd like to personally hear what Michael Flynn has to say about it. No, not at all. Daddy O says Texas is going to get everything they deserve from the SEC. They got to change something out there. I mean, I don't think they quite understand what's about to hit them.
Mm-hmm.
Craig says, will we ever see Pickens as a blocker on the goal line as a fullback? I don't know. That was kind of something they talked about when Zach came in because he played some running back in high school.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, I almost think you end up doing too much. I understand, Clemson did that with Christian Wilkins in a package quite a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if this staff has even practiced it.
Yeah.
I know they scrapped the Trey Jones fullback package. So
really,
which I was a fan of it. Yeah. Satterfield said that's not going to happen this year in the pregame, or in the preseason. So we'll sort of see what happens. But Phil, you sort of look at this ball game, and like I said, breaking it down, and like I said, we'll talk to Flint about this a little more, or a lot actually. But I think that looking at the totality of it, I think that the perimeter blocking situation, is one that probably I think we have a different feeling about the offense, even though the line couldn't get a push in the run game. If that had gone different on like 2 or 3 plays, because I think some of those plays would have probably been touchdowns, or maybe even our big long gains. So those would probably turn into scoring drives. And you have fast players and all that out there, but they just couldn't get loose.
No.
You turn him loose. This is a time to kill. Chris, but no, that was almost encouraging to me, because you look at it and you're like, well, yes, the interior was a problem, and the O-line did not play well at all, and all that. But then you start thinking about, well, the game plan was to attack the perimeter to kind of, back them off that way. I still would have lined up in power and just drug them down the field until they quit.
Right.
But hey, maybe they weren't. Maybe the Georgia State defensive front was, good enough to where they could have neutralized that easily. I mean, I don't know. I kind of look at it and I go, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And when you have execution issues like that, and it was massive too. It wasn't like every now and then the receiver would miss a block.
No, it just
it was through the whole game, absolutely whiffing and stuff. And I think now that I kind of go back and look at it, like I said, that's more correctable than like, oh, we just got blown off the ball by a very small defensive line,
right.
That kind of thing. So,
well, that's what I mean. And the things that we saw go wrong are fixable. I mean, it's not, talent or, lack of talent or anything like that. It's like, blocking is fundamentals and you can correct that.
Yeah. And look too, the other thing about Marcus Satterfield, because you always kind of worry. And like I said, I stand by every piece of criticism I had of him last year. Maybe I was a little harsh in some instances, I'll admit it. But I'm going to say this. That play on the perimeter, if it's blocked and it goes for 40, 50 yards, that's the right play call. Coach Spurrier called his share of those little screens. I think we're going to throw this little screen out there. He had to block. Receivers had to block, and that's a fundamental play in football. And it wasn't to the point either, Phil, like, because, I got worried. Because, you hear the Rams talk, and so you automatically read up on what the Rams like to do. And, they go and sign receivers that can specifically, you have to be able to block in that system. Obviously, last night did not go well for them. But
they didn't use a lot of 12 personnel last night either, which I thought was interesting, which is what we were like, they got 2 tight ends in there. I'm like, I didn't see that. Who knows?
That's weird. Maybe McVay was experimenting. But you read about that and you go, oh, that means it's going to be like super complex for the receivers. They're going to have to worry more about blocking than that. I didn't see any of that against Georgia State. I saw very basic plays that were the right call against the right defense that guys on the perimeter for whatever reason just whiffed. That's good. That's good news, because if it was different, a different situation, chances of improvement are very slim. So that's the thing there, and all that. Nana Sports chat box continues. Austin with a funny. He goes, it'll be Birch, and instead he's going to throw it.
Let's.
Hey, you know what? I think you're going to see it again. I started thinking about it, and I'm like, because all the criticism about Sat, like I said, a lot of it's warranted, but he will throw a wrinkle out there. The wishbone was a dagger. Let's go wishbone. Okay.
Well, I think the good thing about that was we saw that later in the game, right? It's not like, because the Birch pass, Jesus. I mean, that was the first drive, you ran it all the way down and then get cute at the end zone.
And against Tennessee, no doubt, which is the
Right,
one.
yeah.
You've got a counterpunch against those guys. They're and you watch them this weekend, man. They'll probably get off to a big start against Pitt, and Pitt will have to counterpunch.
Yeah.
Preferably by running the football, but I don't know. Tennessee Pitt's going to be interesting because I think we're going to find out. So the problems up at Tennessee this year, everybody's kind of concerned about the defense, right? Because they weren't a great defense last season, and they lost some guys and didn't necessarily replace guys with those types of guys. Does that make sense? So they're worried about the D. I thought they played pretty spirited against Ball State, but Ball State just like got in the I formation and gave it to their like 6'3", 235-pound running back and ran it up the middle a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
So but I think against Pitt this weekend, man, up there in Pittsburgh, we're going to find out how good Tennessee's defense is.
Oh yeah,
or not. I think I don't know what the over/under is on that one, but
it needs to be at least like 65.
I'm going to take the over, dude. I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over. Mr. Andrew asked on the Dana Sport chat box, what's more likely? Our defense holds Arkansas under 20, or our offense scores over 20. What's more likely?
More likely.
I'm gonna say offense scores over 20, and that sounds crazy, but if you look at Arkansas, even some of the good, with the exception of Georgia, LSU wasn't a very high scoring game, but they Arkansas games are most of the time like 35-23, 38-23, 31-28. Sometimes they get crazy, 52-51, 42-35. Yeah. I think that if you look at them this year, my anticipation, regardless of what happens against Carolina, is that Arkansas's offense is probably going to be a little ahead of its defense. Not that its defense is going to be bad, but I think if you want to beat them, you've got to make sure that they don't outscore you. And I'm talking about a shootout. I mean, because what they'll do is they'll get to 30, and let's say you're sitting on 20. And then they stop you, and you have to punt. They can run 6-7 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, it's just a game of keep away at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So it's crazy. VJ says defense holds Arkansas under 20 and scores 6. Yeah, didn't have a defense. Had 2 special team scores. Didn't have a defensive touchdown in that game the other day. That was kind of a trademark of last year's defense under Clayton White. And look, I think the defense showed a lot of signs of improvement last Saturday night, especially at linebacker. So, they may not have the liabilities they had at times last year.
Yeah.
Austin says Georgia State had really good speed across the board. Not big or super strong, but they had speed. It showed especially on the line and on the perimeter. Yeah, they did. They're fast team. Right?
Yeah, they were flying all over the field, which was to their advantage. I mean, they jumped on us and stayed there.
Yeah, I'll let you read Queesy's here. This is interesting.
Oh yeah, I keep hearing about the Birch play. I'm glad I didn't watch the Tennessee game. Yeah, don't go back and watch the replays either. It'll make you sick to your stomach.
that game, Carolina kind of stumbled a little bit on offense. Tennessee goes right down the field twice. Yeah. Carolina finally gets something going. First time all year. Kevin Harris got loose. I think Lloyd caught a pass early, but that was but then that drive. So they get all the way down to the 2. And the Birch play didn't bother me as much as right before it on 1st and goal from the 2. Mm-hmm. They threw Joyner in, which look.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
and look, DeCarrion, hero of the bowl game, obviously a big part of the program. Not hating on him, but I'm going to say this, that when they just threw him out there to run Wildcat for one play last year, it did not work.
No, we got 100,000 people sitting there watching it, knowing exactly who's going to keep the ball.
Yeah, and knew who's going to keep it. If he'd have given it to Lloyd walks in the end zone. Instead, he's half-yard loss or so. And then here comes Jordan Birch in at fullback, so you're like, oh,
wow, we're going to try to run it again. Yeah,
give Birch the ball or the decoy. No. They give it to him. He rolls out looking like Looked like the late Jared Lorenzen out there.
I thought for sure it was the fullback dive, and I was happy. I was like, man, what a great play call. This is going to be awesome. Just run it. Let three
the
score.
big old
like,
Birch get in. And so,
you
know, when we sit there and I'm like, and he threw it. And that's the game that because these early kickoffs sometimes, Phil, Nat and I will go to a place up the road called Tavern. They serve brunch or breakfast, 11 a.m. local kickoff. It was 11 a.m. Central Time, and we're the only ones in the bar, right? Because not a lot of Gamecock fans in Homer Glen, Illinois, right? And only ones in the bar, and Devra, our bartender, was cleaning the tables, right, while we were sitting there watching the game, and I yelled and scared the crap out of her. She dropped her mop, like her bucket of water.
Oh, I can only imagine.
I was like, I think I said something about an idiot or something. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I know my neighbors heard me yelling at the damn TV.
Oh, tough one. Happy says Rattler's definitely a better quarterback than we've had, but it's extremely difficult for any quarterback to come in and lift an offense solely by themselves. My prediction is Rattler ends up staying 2 years. Book it. I'm not getting on board with that right now, and that's not true as far as quarterback coming in and changing the game. That's happened a lot. Well, I mean, I'm not saying it's not true. That would infer you're lying or saying a falsehood. I'm just saying I disagree with that because there's many examples of a single quarterback coming in to a program, and especially nowadays with the portal and making a big difference. So it's one of those things. Ashley says, I truly expect the playbook to open up this week and surprise us. No way they showed their hand last week after seeing the plan of the bowl game. I think they'll open up more than the special teams playbook. That's an interesting point. Look, the bowl game, I think what they did in the bowl game was they got in a rhythm calling plays. Like in other words, they're attacking one side, then boom, they go back to Juju. Then boom, they'll do this with Jaheim, and then boom, they run Kevin up the middle, and then they're switching quarterbacks in and out and stuff like that. The carrying carries, some of the plays were the same. Now there were some plays they ran in the bowl game didn't see last week, obviously. So we'll see. Ashley, I would just go out there and attack. Attack, just attack and execute. VJ says, rewatching last week's game, I was surprised at how snappy Rattler's throws were, especially in the first half. Easily the best arm talent I've seen in Garnet and Black. I can't argue with you there. I mean, some of those throws were freakish.
Yeah, and that's what, Jamie and Chris both said is that this guy just is different. I mean, it comes out different.
Yeah. Phil, Chancey has a interesting one there. I'll let you get that one.
Well, maybe we should do a trick play again tomorrow. Yeah, I like trick plays at the right time. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, even if you open the game up with it, I mean, what the hell? Throw it at them. You're the underdog. And you're away. You want to shut that crowd up, then get 60 plus yards on your first play. But it's all about timing. It's just like life. Everything's all about timing.
Hey, Will Muschamp, to his credit, he did this several times, and he actually called. Will Muschamp called 2 offensive plays. Hold on, was it Carolina? First one was at Tennessee. Carolina won the game. It was 2017. Dialed up a 9 route from Jake Bentley to Brian Edwards' first play of the game. And Edwards almost had it. It went right off his hands. It was a pretty good throw by Jake. Of course, Gamecocks ended up winning an ugly one, 15-9. Could have lost that one to a bad Tennessee team, bad in Knoxville. And then second half against Kentucky in 2019, because he told the sideline reporter what he was going to come out and run. And they did, and they scored. I think they almost scored.
Yeah, that was great.
Will close to being 2 for 2 on offensive play calls here.
Yeah, you may have missed his calling.
Yeah. So there we go. All right. Let's go to our break. Top of the hour. On the other side, we're going to be less lighthearted and get more into the nitty-gritty of this game, X's and O's with Michael Flint coming up on the other side. It's been a heck of a first hour, folks, here on a fantastic Friday. How about that?
That's right.
On Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Hour number 2 coming up. It's presented by the Burgess team at Remax at the Lake. Michael Flynn coming up on the other side, folks, after these messages. If you're a listener, you know I feel strongly that if you're in the upstate and are in need of real estate services, Cindy Searfoss is your go-to person. Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane can help you with any of your realty needs right there in the upstate of South Carolina, Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Oconee, Pickens, wherever you are. Cindy can help you with that. She's married to a diehard Gamecock fan, has been in the upstate for more than 35 years. Right there in my hometown of Spartanburg, Daniel Morgan Avenue. Contact Cindy, 864-414-5271, or email csearfoss, CSEARFOSS, at cbcaine.com, CBCAINE. That's Cindy Searfoss, a proud sponsor of the Inside the Gamecocks podcast. Check her out. We've already gotten several emails from listeners that are very impressed with her professionalism and her ability to help you with your real estate needs. 864-414-5271, Cindy Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of Remax at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON at remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Hey, man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
Oh, I feel that, man. My head hurts, but I have a good lead on a good idea. I'm calling your boy Matthew Odom today from Heritage Digital. Heritage Digital is an IT firm that specializes in making sure your IT network runs like a dream. If you have 1 or 500 employees, it doesn't matter. They do it all for one monthly fee and have clients from South Carolina all the way to California.
Yeah, I heard that monthly fee's low too, so I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Do you have 843-699-1001 as Matt's contact number?
Yeah, man, I sure do that. Or you can go to heritagedigital.com.
Man, I hear they do a no-cost assessment. Boy, this will help me.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm getting on that and encouraging everyone else to do the same. Heritage Digital, 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com, a proud sponsor of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Hey, folks, JC here. I've told you about Nana's Porch over and over again. They sponsor our chat box on the show. Don't take my word for it, though. I wanted you to hear from Gamecock pitcher Noah Hall about our sponsor, Nana's Porch. nanasporch.com. Go there. Food truck, catering, whatever you need. Take it away, Noah.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is pitcher Noah Hall. If you want some delicious food for your event, I suggest visiting nanasporch.com today to find out what they all have to offer. It's really good Southern cuisine based out of Charlotte, my hometown. I hope you guys go check it out. Go Cox and go Nanas.
Hey, Mo Cowboy here from the Carolina Gamecocks. You're listening to Inside the Gamecocks, the show with JC and Phil.
Welcome back, Inside the Gamecocks, the show. JC Sherbert, Phil Mullinax with you, second hour. Brought to you by the Burgesson team at Remax at the Lake for all your commercial real estate needs. Give Adam and those guys a call. Also wanted to let you know about Meredith Taylor. The Meredith Taylor guest line is where we're going to join Michael Flint here in a second. But Go follow her on Twitter at MER Taylor. It's Mayor Taylor, not Murr Taylor. And I don't know. She's got some gear up, some golf gear. Looks good.
Yeah, I just saw that. She got some pretty clean looking sweatshirts up here.
Yeah, go to McKellarEnterprise.org. I'm gonna buy some, man. It looks solid, right? So anyway, encourage you to go check that out if you can. All right, so time to talk football with our main man, Michael Flint. Michael, here you've been watching some film, buddy.
That's right. And I had to go back and watch the game a little bit. Always mind really what's on outside.
Hold up, Michael. Hold on.
Just a second, Michael.
Let's see if we can fix your audio a little bit. Sorry about that, guys.
Let's see. Yeah, try again. Let's see if we can't hear him a little better now.
Yeah, see if we can hear you a little better now.
There. Oh.
He's fixed.
You hear me a little better?
Yeah, there you go, bud. There you go.
Yeah, no, it was had to go back and rewatch it a little bit. It's a little different watching it live, in person or on TV because you find yourself following the ball and you really don't see what goes on with the other 10 guys or 9 guys outside the quarterback and whoever's got the ball. You don't see what happens on the perimeter and how they got to what they're doing or missing blocks or throwing one heck of a block for the ball carrier. So had to go back and watch a little more to see what really happened with, was the offensive line. Did they play that bad or was it more of the guys on the perimeter not doing what they were supposed to be doing, to help. So, yeah, I had to go back and watch a little bit.
So what'd you find out? Because, I didn't go back and break down the whole game, but I did see some instances in rewatching it where a better block or a block at all, because sometimes they whiffed out on the perimeter, could have turned into several explosive plays. And I think had those blocks been made, we may even be talking a little bit different about the offense today.
No, you're 100% right. There were a lot of times where the receivers or a tight end outside really just, the ball, and then they'll tell you the same thing. Did a terrible job blocking. They did a bad job. They missed blocks. They whiffed on blocks. They were in bad positions. Technique fundamentals were not good. There was a lot of just kind of, they would engage with the defensive back, and the defensive back did what they want, slinging one way or another, depending on which way the ball carrier was coming. So the level of physicality with those guys on the outside has to improve dramatically to have success this week. The offensive line did have their struggles at times. I think a lot of it, go back and watch. I think that horizontal or wide zone blocking scheme is tough. I think it takes really a special skill set, because when you go back and watch, it looked, especially early in the game, it looked like our guys were on their heels, and they weren't. It's not as much of an attacking mentality as different styles of different schemes like the pin and pull. It's more of that horizontal. Out leverage your man and stretch the run game and stretch the field. So it looked like a lot of times guys were on their heels. They got pushed backwards. So, and especially in pass protection with play action, guys looked they were caught off guard a lot. They were playing on their heels, and I think in the second half it changed a bit. But the guys did play well. I think especially in the interior. The offensive line first half to second half did a lot better job playing faster and getting to the second level. There was a lot of times where that linebacker made the play, and instead of a 2 or 3, for a 2-3 yard gain, where if the guard or whoever gets to the second level and gets a hat on a hat with the linebacker, that it's a different story. I think we're talking about, but I think the level of play was elevated in the second half. I think the line did a better job of opening up holes, but there was still some challenges. Guys just got beat. They just got beat one-on-one situations that's not good, and it doesn't make me feel very comfortable. But I think there was a lot of teaching moments from that film that I think those coaches are going to go back, and those guys are really going to work on the technique piece of it, not being so much on their heels and really firing their hands and not letting those defenders get, when you say the hand battles and not letting them get their hands inside, but. The perimeter was one of the big areas that really surprised me of how bad that blocking was, and fundamentally it wasn't clean. And there's a lot of technique things that those guys, and a lot of it comes down to toughness. It's physicality and toughness, and not letting that guy beat you. So that's going to be a big piece of it this week, to see how we improve, not just with the offensive line and kind of what scheme we try to utilize more, but also those guys on the perimeter.
Yeah, you played receiver, for Holtz and Spurrier. Obviously, I was talking to people. Coach Spurrier wouldn't let you play as a receiver if you wouldn't block. I mean, because that was a lot of his offense. They run those little tunnel screens and bubble screens and stuff like that. They emphasized it at practice this week. If it were just the O line, that would be I would be much more concerned, right? But blocking on the perimeter, I mean, a lot of these guys are big guys. They're tough guys. They can take a hit and hold on to the ball, that kind of thing. How hard is that to correct with a week's worth of emphasis in practice?
It's not that bad. I think a lot of what I saw just simply came down to effort and technique. Knowing which shoulder to attack, knowing where the ball carrier is going to be, knowing who to get. I think a lot of it just comes down to effort and toughness, really. Because a lot of the times the guys were in good position for the most part. It was just the physicality wasn't there as much. And I'll tell you, Georgia State, going back, those guys are coached really well. They did a good job with blitz, the different style of blitzes that they came with. But from the perimeter standpoint, I think a lot of what I saw, it can be fixed. And it really comes down to effort, toughness, and play and physical, and being better than that guy in front of you. And I think we got some guys that can do that.
Did you almost say effort, toughness, and discipline?
No, yeah.
that was most yes thing. I was like, uh-oh. Effort, toughness, and discipline. No, I agree. And look, you got some guys out there that are veterans. I mean, man, one of those plays, Jaheim Bell and Josh Vann, both, you saw two guys, they both whiffed on the blocks. I mean, those guys have been around a while. They can block. I mean, which makes me feel better, because it's correctable. It's not like they're out there with a bunch of freshmen at receiver that, they just want to catch the ball and don't really give a crap about blocking. I mean, those guys have been asked to do it before. And that made me feel a lot better. So you mentioned the outside zone. Obviously that's a staple of the Los Angeles Rams, which we've heard about all summer. Phil said after watching the Rams last night, he did not feel.
It did not inspire a lot of confidence in me.
It's the NFL, and I think this may be the Bills' year, to be honest with you. I think the Bills.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But that's kind of that McVay out. A lot of people run outside zone, and I think Carolina's got players to do it in the backfield. So what would you suggest in terms of, because so there was one play, a couple plays where I noticed you've got a guard pulling all the way, almost 5 yards, 4, 5 yards to try to block an end, pulling all the way around. Everybody pulls, right? It just seemed like a pretty long way to go. The Rams have and I don't know the players exactly, but hypothetically, their guy that's pulling, it runs 4.7, and he was an All-American at Iowa or Michigan, right?
Yeah.
This is the University of South Carolina. I think these guys are good. I mean, I think guys like Trey Jones can move around and stuff, but I think that's a big ask with guys at this level.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it really comes down to the fronts of the D line and linebackers, that front seven, where they're lined up, kind of the calls that the center makes. It's not really out of the ordinary seeing some of those guys pull. I think a lot of it was just the look of that Georgia State defender got upfield more so than squeezing downhill. And so it looked more, it was, I think it was Rashawn Lee was out there. It looked like he was out there, but I think he was a little shocked that the Georgia State defender was that far upfield rather than squeezing down like you normally would. It is a long way. I think a lot of it depends on, kind of what play is called. But I did like the fact that we saw some guys pulling. We saw some guys getting downhill at certain times. I think, there's certain situations that I think that wide zone is good, where you can set up a lot of play action passing, because it's a lot of the same look, to where you run more of that attacking style, it's a little bit easier to tell kind of from a pass protection standpoint, from a defensive front seven, is it a pass or is it a run?
Yeah.
From a lot of the sets. But I think there's also times where you need to attack and get downhill, especially in the red zone where where that field is shrunk and, there's a lot more guys in the box, and, attack and put those defensive linemen on their heels. So I do think there's a time and a place for that. So I think with that wide zone, it takes a special player. I mean, it's kind of, you look at, the kind of people we have at that nickel spot, or what we used to call the spur, spot. Historically, the guys that have played that in South Carolina's defense, whether it be Ellis Johnson or now, a lot of those guys, just about every single one of those guys has played in the NFL and had a good career. And so it takes a special kind of athlete to be able to play in the box with the physicality that's required as kind of an outside linebacker, and then be able to get out in space and cover. And I think from that technique, it takes a special kind of athlete to really be, from a footwork and athleticism standpoint, because you're expected to move a lot. You're moving in bigger spaces. And so the athleticism has to be there. You got to be able to cut guys off. You got to be able to move and out leverage people. So I do think that takes a special kind of talent. I think conceptually, it's a great scheme, but you got to have the right type of personnel to do it. And so, do we have that? I don't know. Time will tell, how we do these next couple of games versus the teams we're playing. So, but I would like to see, I'd like to see a little more diversity, just to help our guys with that scheme. Because I think you can help your guys by play calling. And kind of an example, one example I look at is I think it was in the second quarter where Rattler got sacked on a corner blitz on the short side of the field. The Georgia State corner was on the Georgia State sideline, to where you're watching film and you can see tendencies that play callers have. And interested to see how often Georgia State, at the short side of the field like that versus certain formations, a single receiver versus a twin four receiver set into the boundary. And Rattler was back there, and I think Marshawn Lloyd missed it. Rattler, you could tell, didn't see it, but you could see the corner start to squeeze. So the receiver should have been calling that out, and that goes to the communication piece. But as a play caller, you see tendencies, and it's like, we're susceptible to corner blitz. Let me roll Spencer out, or let me run a sort of a play action, or let me get an extra guy over there to help. And so I think a lot of that comes down to the play callers actually helping those guys and putting those guys in position to be successful. And I think Clayton White really does a phenomenal job of that on defense.
Yeah, I think so too. Phil, you got something?
No, I was just, from what you were saying, Michael, what do you think about the linebacker play this year? I mean, I personally think it's improved. I think everybody sees a bit of improvement over what we had last year, especially with speed. I mean, we all love Damani Staley, but he was slow.
Yeah, I think you look at it. I think you look at it, you see size.
Oh, we lost him.
There we go.
Oh, hang on.
We can't hear you.
Is he muted?
I'm trying to fix it.
All right, hold on. We're going to fix it.
No, he's muted on his end somehow.
You're somehow muted on your end, Michael. That's all right, man. This is a great segment, man. I like
you got me back.
There you go, man. You're back. Way to go on it. Okay.
I don't know, man. Technology these days.
I tell you,
too many moving pieces.
We were talking about linebackers and
yeah. So I think you see guys that have matured. You see guys that are healthy. Experience is a huge factor in the SEC, and I think a guy like Mo Kaba coming back from injury. I mean, you look at Marshawn Lloyd, what he's done this year versus last year. You look at Mo Kaba coming in off an injury. You look at Debo Williams coming in. He's a workhorse. He works his tail off. But the speed of the game is different, and it takes a little while to adjust to that. And I think you've seen those guys adjust, and they've provided depth. And I tell you, seeing Mo Kaba, he reminds me a lot of Ernest Jones. He's physical. Yeah. He plays downhill. And, seeing him, it really reminded me of Ernest Jones, who's starting linebacker for the Rams. Played very physical, always played hard, and I think you playing downhill, and you got a guy like Debo Williams who's the same way. May not be as big, maybe a little undersized, but he plays fast and physical, and that's exactly what you want to see with those linebackers.
I thought Brad Johnson was improved too, and then like with Brad, you mentioned experience, and this is the first time I think he's played the same spot back to back.
Yeah,
so been at Carolina. He's been at Carolina forever. I mean, I think he came in when you were graduating, so like 20 years ago. But no, yeah, but Brad looks more comfortable this year. Now he's always going to be a guy that's better suited to pass rush. I mean, he's a pass rushing linebacker, but I thought just in terms of his assignments and stuff, he looked like he was more comfortable.
Yeah, I tell you, you're 100% right. I think he's finally gotten his body to where he feels good and he can maximize his ability based on size and strength. I think when he was playing defensive end, he had gotten too big, too strong, and he got stiff. He couldn't bend in his hips very well, and he just looked real stiff. And I think now you've seen him kind of transform his body to more naturally where he's not too big and too stiff and not being able to bend and not being flexible. And I think the strength staff has done one heck of a job with him and kind of transforming, trying to get too big to be a defensive end, to be able to maintain, getting to, that size to play linebacker. And he played fast. I mean, he was all over the field, which is good to see. You see guys that think too much about what they're supposed to be doing, and you just play slow. It's not read and react. It's read, think, then react. And that's what you don't want. You want to see guys that read and react to what they're doing. So it's been nice. I think those guys, it's clicked, and it was really fun to watch that defense, last Saturday, because they flew around the field. They knew what they were doing. And I think this coming week, I'm really interested to see what we do with Cam Smith. If we continue to leave Cam Smith inside, or if we, or if we choose to, for him to play outside. Georgia State did try to pick on Dial a little bit. He was in position a lot of the times, but it didn't really feel right. He was beat a couple times, made up, but Georgia State was not really good at throwing the football, and accuracy it lacked. So it is going to be interesting to see what happens there with Cam Smith, if we choose to leave him inside, or if we choose to put him back at the corner, and maybe a guy like David Spalding comes in and plays some of that nickel spot.
What do you think? Obviously, there's one key injury last week. That was R.J. Roderick, 6 plays into the game. What did you think about Nick Emanware from right there at Irmo, a true freshman?
I thought he looked good. I tell you, that play, that fourth down play was impressive. I had to do a double take to see who that was, because for a freshman to come in the first, on his first or second play as a college athlete, to come in and really just stonewall. I mean, he looked like a veteran out there at times. Now, I think we all need to be careful, because we haven't really seen what he can do in coverage from a coverage standpoint. And Arkansas is really going to test that this week, and making sure, seeing how how he does in coverage. So I know R.J. Roderick was really good in the run game at times, but, historically over the past, he hasn't been great in coverage. And I think that's one thing we're going to have to kind of temper the expectations to make sure that, there's a lot that goes on with coverage responsibilities. And Georgia State really didn't press that very much with what they did, being that run first team to set up the pass. But I was impressive. He played fast, he played physical, and it's for a freshman coming in like that, not highly touted. It was really cool to see, because he was kind of a camp evaluation that it was like, holy cow, this guy's a physical specimen. He's an athlete that can run. And from a size standpoint, you don't see that very often. But being able to come in and pick it up mentally and be able to understand the playbook has been very impressive. And I think, being able to see what he can do in coverage this week, I think is gonna go a long way. Kind of how the rest of the season goes with him on defense. But I think it's there. The physicality's there. That was it. That run, that stop was impressive. Very impressive.
Big difference between SEC football and like camp when you're doing one-on-ones. But one of the things they loved about him in camp, they had him go line up at corner and cover a slot receiver, and he beat him.
And I'll tell you, that's the thing with him, is he's a guy that could grow into, from a coverage standpoint, from a physicality standpoint, grow into that nickel spot.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I agree with you there completely. So, Arkansas, they're going to use a lot of eye candy before the snap. They're very Kendall Briles to me is a very interesting offensive coordinator. I like him a lot because he's kind of like his dad. I mean, okay, if our personnel requires power run game, we'll do that all day. If our personnel could spread it 5 or wide, throw it all over the yard, we're going to do that. I mean, it's versatile. And I think we've seen the Briles offense in 3 different forms at Ole Miss, at Tennessee, and at Arkansas. You know, I think people are learning this thing. That could be successful in the SEC. It was a Big 12 offense for a long time. A lot of people had questions. I always kind of looked out there and I thought, well, yeah, everybody kind of loves Mike Leach, and who doesn't? You know, I mean, and his offense is doing fine in the league. But I thought, ideally, for an SEC football team that's going to have to run the ball, or that may not have the quarterback that can throw. I mean, the Briles system's good, so he's going to test the eye discipline. I think of South Carolina's defense, and then Arkansas. I guess I got lost. This got lost on me. Their tackle is what, 6'9", 311.
Large man.
That is a large man. That's a Justin Sorensen plus right there, man. The Canadian lumberjack shout out. You know, they're big up front, and I think when you start talking about discipline and stuff like that, that's a secondary linebacker thing. And then you look at the defensive line versus their offensive line. Look, you got 2 4-stars and 2 5-stars starting up there for the Gamecocks. Mm-hmm. It's time. This is why you recruit these guys, so they can go against the offensive line like this. I think that, you know, assignment football is going to be important. I want you to speak to that. And also, it's time for South Carolina's D-line to at least compete and maybe bat 500 against these guys, because, you know, Arkansas has one of the best offensive lines in the country. But, you know, heck, that's why you go get Jordan Birch and Zach Pickens and Boogie Huntley as recruits, and Jordan Strawn out of the portal, and all those other guys. I mean, they're supposed to be good, and they're all kind of veterans by now.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Like I've said before, I mean, you win and lose football games in the SEC in the trenches. Mm-hmm. And you go back to when we had beaten Clemson 5 years in a row. Clemson had a dang good team. They had their skill positions were littered all over the NFL, mm-hmm. every single one of them, years worth of them. But we beat them up front and we beat them in the trenches. We may not have had the better athletes, you know, overall, but we were a whole heck of a lot better in the trenches. And that's where we won those football games, when you're able to get pressure on the quarterback and you're able to block to establish a run game. And I think that's, you know, like you said, with a lot of the motions and the movements, it's all about communication. Those guys got to be talking, they got to be communicating, they got to know what you're supposed to do based on different formations and where these guys shift to. So that's an important piece is really, you know, keep your eyes where they're supposed to be. Don't get caught up in all of that stuff. Know your assignment and do your assignment. I think that's what helps that with you know, all that pre-snap movement, communications. But, you know, a lot of with what Arkansas does, it starts with the quarterback, and the quarterback runs a lot. And, you know, he's a good athlete, but they utilize him in all areas of the game. And so I think, you know, really having those guys on the edge with Strawn and Jordan Birch, really setting the edge and not over pursuing and allowing KJ Jefferson to get, you know, to get to the edge. Because once he gets to the edge, you can get big chunk plays. And that's what we need to try to eliminate, is the big chunk plays. You know, maintaining your run gaps, not over pursuing. And that's what the defensive line has to be really good at, is being able to collapse the pocket from the inside and really get good push. Because once you can collapse the pocket, forces the quarterback one way or another. And so with Birch and Strawn really setting the edge and maintaining that edge discipline, it allows for them to, you know, to come in for the sacks, tackles for loss. So that defensive line, those front four are going to be critical, you know, to the success that we have on Saturday. You know, and the depth, you know, with all the guys rotating in, it's going to be a team effort, but we got to be really good with setting the edge, and we got to be able to collapse the pocket from the interior to be able to have a chance to be successful, and really just keeping KJ Jefferson kind of in front of you. You know, don't let him outflank you. Don't let him get out wide. There's going to be times where the pocket breaks down and he slides up and tries to go for a chunk run, 20, 30 plays. And that's where those linebackers come into play. You know, really maintaining that discipline, knowing where you're supposed to be, and really break down and fundamental, you know, tackling fundamentally. Don't, you know, none of that arm tackling stuff and diving in the legs, because he's a guy that you got to wrap up on, or if
you can't arm tackle him.
Yeah, or he's going to drag you down the field.
Yeah.
It's a lot of what I like to call miscellaneous yards. And you talk to him. You talked about him getting outside the pocket. And Arkansas is really good at working the sidelines. By the way, they'll throw that little pass out to Trey Knox. They'll do the receivers. But if KJ gets to the edge and he's got you outflanked, and you come up and hit him, your corners, right? Because your corners are probably giving up about 60 pounds in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
He will move forward for about 2 or 3 more yards. So whereas a normal quarterback would probably gain 4 or 5, he's getting 8. And if that's on first down, all of a sudden you're giving Kendall Brown 2nd and 3rd and 2. And it's over. I mean, it's over in that situation. So, I see exactly that. You got to get him on the ground. You got to contain Raheem Sanders. There's a lot to stop with Arkansas, I think. And their receivers have talent too. I mean, they're all bigger guys that can beat you. So, all right, switching back to offense real quick, and then we'll run. South Carolina, I think it's vitally important they do not let Arkansas get pressure with 3 or 4 tomorrow. Yeah. Mariota wants to do that all day because then he can drop everybody, and then Rattler's not going to have a whole – I mean, there's going to be – flooded passing lanes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, first down, especially, first down is probably one of the most critical downs for this offense on Saturday, and being able to keep kind of Barry Odom at bay where he can't get creative. Barry Odom is a very, very good defensive football coach, very creative, knows how to create pressure in different ways. So not giving him that flexibility to get creative, because we didn't do a good job this past Saturday of handling the, different blitzes. And you give Barry Odom that opportunity, it could make for a long day. I think, being able to be successful on first down, get into those 2nd and short, 3rd and short situations where we can keep the playbook open. I think utilizing the screen game, the draw game is huge for us. And I know we haven't done that a whole lot. Even last year we didn't do it a lot. But I think that running screens, running draws is critical. That can help kind of neutralize blitzes. Calling plays that get the ball out of Spencer's hand a little bit quicker. I think Rattler did a good job of being patient. I think he kind of was a little bit quick getting out of the pocket at times, and I think some of that pressure, really kind of forced those decisions on him. With us not being able to protect him well early. I think tempo is another thing. You go back to that first drive of the game on Saturday, we ran tempo. Had some success. We were getting guys that we were getting up and down the field, and after 3 or 4 plays, we just stopped, and it was like we just went to huddling. And so I think we need to be consistent with what we do. It's tough to go tempo, and then slow it down, and then try to get back to it. I think we need to be more consistent. If we're going to go tempo, I think we need to stick with it. There's going to be times where we may not have success and we may get pinned back, but I think we need to stick with it. I thought we did a good job of that, and guys were flying around, and it puts a little bit of pressure on the defense to get back up there and go. And but I think tempo is another thing. I don't want to see us try to force the ball to Jaheim Bell as much. I felt like on Saturday it was forced. I think we need to utilize him as part of the game plan and really make Arkansas plan for him, but use him at times as a decoy. There was times when we saw him in the backfield, it was like we tried to get him the ball, and maybe this week kind of utilize that as play action and get him out the backfield, or utilize him in the screen game in different ways, but, don't force it to him. And I think, if we can get Marshawn Lloyd going a little bit earlier in this game, I think people are going to see just how special he really is and how much speed and quickness he has. Because there was some times on last Saturday, when he gets into that open field that he can really move, and he's got some speed and he's got elusiveness and quickness that I think the fans have been wanting to see. But I think the critical thing on Saturday is really having success on first down, being able to get into 2nd and medium, 2nd and short situations is going to be big for us. Because once we start getting in 2nd and long, 3rd and long, obvious passing situations, and Barry Odom's able to get pressure, they can get creative, and I think it can make for a long afternoon.
Michael Flynn, ladies and gentlemen, joins us. Been joining us on Fridays every week here. You can check out all of his interviews with us on the YouTube page if you missed it. It's under the title Wando's World. Use some alliteration there. Wando's World. But yeah, it's always good stuff, Michael. I really appreciate you in. So you got a score prediction for tomorrow?
I think, it's tough. There's a lot of factors at play here. I think Georgia State is a better football team than what we gave them credit for. Defensively, they were very disciplined. I think if it weren't for special teams, that game is a whole heck of a lot closer in the fourth quarter than people anticipate. And I really think Georgia State's going to give North Carolina all they can handle this weekend. And I think at the end of the year, really going to see how good of a football team they are, how well coached they are as well. And I think South Carolina has a good chance here. I think if we get back to doing like we said, perimeter blocking, fundamentals, I think, Coach Satterfield can get a game plan, but it's being able to put these guys in positions to be successful. And when you have a scheme, you got to make sure you got the guys that can play within the scheme. Everything sounds great in theory, but can you execute? And I think that's what we learned a lot about on Saturday is execution and what we're good at, what we're good at executing and what we may not be as good at with executing, and seeing how we adjust from last Saturday to this Saturday. But I really think we got the talent. We got the skill guys that can compete with just about any school in the SEC. And I like this team. I like the leadership qualities that they have. I think South Carolina has a very legitimate shot at winning this game. It may not be potentially a high scoring game, but I think South Carolina wins this game. And I think it's, 27, I'm going to say Gamecocks 27-24.
Michael Flint, 27-24 Gamecocks. All right, man. Well, hey, we'll catch up pretty soon, probably next Friday, and talk about those Georgia Bulldogs coming to town. Wow. And I say wow because I sometimes I thought Oregon looked terrible this past week. It didn't look like Oregon, but Georgia fans get on me. My Georgia buddies get on me for that. They're like, "You're not giving us any credit." Oof.
Hey, that's kind of like what I said last week. It's everybody's got a plan until you get hit in the mouth, and I think Georgia, they came out and man, it was impressive. Yeah. And I tell you, offensively they made it look easy, but it was easy to see how they tried to set things up. They really utilized certain plays to set up the next play or set up 2 or 3 plays away or the next series, and you could see Oregon's defenders at times look confused and didn't know what was going on, and that's a lot about what being an offensive coordinator is about. And like I say, putting guys in positions to be successful. That's really it. Georgia did a heck of a job doing that. Yeah. And so, Georgia looked good, but I think Oregon got a welcome to big boy football moment.
Yeah. I thought Monken sold me last year, Georgia's OC, in the championship game when Alabama clearly had like a liability at corner. He spotted it. He went right after him, and that was that long touchdown pass from Bennett to, I think, Burton or Smith won. Yeah. And they changed the game, got him back on top, all that good stuff. Mike, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
Hey, enjoyed it, guys. Have a good one. Go Cox.
Thank you.
Go Cox.
Michael Wando Flint joining us, and again, you can check out all of his stuff on the podcast version, on YouTube, full show version, and we got a tab for him. Phil sent me the video. We'll put it up. It's Wando's World.
Yep.
On the Big Spur YouTube page where we stream every single day. All right, Phil. We'll get us to break here.
That's right.
Come back, and Nana's Porch chat box has been active. What I want to start here when we get back, folks, because last 20 minutes of the week before a game, just give us some predictions. Just give us some. What do you think? What do you think?
What you feeling?
The poll. All right, so it's kind of funny. I'm gonna say this right before we go, and food for thought before we go. It's kind of interesting. So Bill Gunner, I call him WG. He's on 107.5 The Game. I'm on there twice in the morning during the week. I've been on. It's only been once the last 2 weeks because of carpool, but so he puts out a poll, and there's all these different. Arkansas wins by more than 7. Is it close? What is it? And really, it's like 63% Arkansas wins by at least Arkansas wins, and then 40% had by 7 or more. So it's like 60. So his audience thinks 60-30 Arkansas, and our audience is about 60-40 Gamecocks. Interesting that at all. Okay, sounds good. Now to go to break, Phil. After And we will be back. Want to hear some predictions in the Nana Sports chat box. And Phil and I will give our final predictions of the week right here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show, after these messages.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of RE/MAX at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON at remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Attention golfers of all ages and skill sets. Former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor will be a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina very, very soon. You want to take advantage of this opportunity. If you're like me and you got to get a whole lot better at golf, or even if you're looking to refine your swing, Meredith is the person you need to go to. She's competing in her final USGA Mid-Amateur Tournament this summer before going full-time into teaching and coaching individuals. If you're in South Carolina, Meredith will be conducting in-person golf lessons at the Country Club of Lexington, hour on course. She'll play 9 or 18 with you. If you're out of state, though, this is really exciting. She'll be conducting virtual lessons. You can send in your swing for her expert analysis. Also, in November, she'll launch an online course with video instruction for all ages and skill levels. Meredith has 20-plus years of knowledge, former SEC golfer, all of that. So contact her on Twitter at MERTaylor, at MERTAYLOR, or go to McKellarEnterprises.org. McKellar spelled MCKELLAR, Enterprises.org. Her email's on the website, so you can connect with her for any other questions. Go get your golf game in order. Take advantage of Meredith Taylor and her services.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Hey, folks, JC here. I've told you about Nana's Porch over and over again. They sponsor our chat box on the show. Don't take my word for it, though. I wanted you to hear from Gamecock pitcher Noah Hall about our sponsor, Nana's Porch. nanasporch.com. Go there. Food truck, catering, whatever you need. Take it away, Noah.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is pitcher Noah Hall. If you want some delicious food for your event, I suggest visiting nanasporch.com today to find out what they all have to offer. It's really good Southern cuisine based out of Charlotte, my hometown. I hope you guys go check it out. Go Cox and go Nanas.
Hey, man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
Oh, I feel that, man. My head hurts, but I have a good lead on a good idea. I'm calling your boy Matthew Odom today from Heritage Digital. Heritage Digital is an IT firm that specializes in making sure your IT network runs like a dream. If you have 1 or 500 employees, it doesn't matter. They do it all for one monthly fee and have clients from South Carolina all the way to California.
Yeah, I heard that monthly fee's low too, so I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Do you have 843-699-1001 as Matt's contact number?
Yeah, man, I sure do that. Or you can go to heritagedigital.com.
Man, I hear they do a no-cost assessment. Boy, this will help me.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm getting on that and encouraging everyone else to do the same. Heritage Digital, 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com, a proud sponsor of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
What's up? This is Jaheim Bell with the Gamecocks, and you're now listening to Inside the Gamecocks show with JC and Phil.
All right, and we're back.
All right. Yeah, all right. So getting down to it, about 15 minutes left. Nana's Porch chat boxers are lively today. We appreciate that. Rick says he's been having hog for at least one meal a day all week in preparation for tomorrow. That would be bacon, ham, pork chops, pulled pork, sausage. So they say Chicago, sausage.
Sausage.
That's Polish sausage.
I may get barbecue tomorrow just because of that. I might have some barbecue.
Barbecue sounds good. Just don't invite your buddy. You remember?
You're right. Yeah.
Right. He who wears the belt buckle.
That's right.
Because he will be in the crock pot eating the crap out of it.
Yeah, he will.
I put some slow and easy cheese on it. Maybe a nice scoop of mayonnaise, you know?
Oh, jeez.
Gross. That's good for Rick. Chris says one of the posters on TBS made a good point about Marshawn needing to be a little more patient. I read that. I don't know, man. As a running back, you need to be a patient runner, obviously. But Marshawn, he gets up a full head of steam. I mean, there were several times, like if there's just one block that happens for a second, Marshawn's running for 40, 50 yards.
Yeah.
So I agree to a certain extent. I don't think that's a big problem for him. 8JM2 says the line in Vegas screams a USC cover. I think we'll win outright. Last I checked, it was 8.5. I think it went up a little bit. Maybe it's 10 now. I'm not sure. I think the Gamecocks will cover. I'm gonna pick them to cover. I picked 34-21 Arkansas earlier in the week, but my final show prediction is probably going to be a little different. I'm going to adjust my camera there, buddy.
Yeah.
I look like I was underground. Go Hogs! And one of our Arkansas people. We really appreciate all you Arkansas fans who have tuned in this week. A lot of nice comments. Then one Gamecock fan who I guess doesn't like me. Shocker. He's like a big gamer. I looked up his profile. He's like, I can't believe JC Sherbert has a platform. I got 3 or 4 of them, man. Whatever.
Been doing it a while.
Thanks for coming to the YouTube channel and dropping your 2 cents. Now go play Call of Duty and kiss my butt. Craig says, how much will we see Malik Hornsby? Arkansas used him a bit the other day. He scares me, Craig. Honestly, he should scare anybody. I've been harping on that since I just happened to be watching the Outback Bowl last year. Jefferson gets hurt or his helmet comes off. They put in Hornsby who just runs around the left edge for like 25 yards in a touchdown.
Yeah, but I think he's their little wrinkle this week. Like we're gonna see him.
Good. That's good. So, all right. Evan says quick slants or mesh concepts could back off the pressure from the linebackers. That's good. VJ makes a point. He thinks Carolina's 1 year behind Arkansas. And this will be Carolina's year to play underdog and surprise people like Arkansas last year. I kind of agree with that. I think what Arkansas has accomplished over the last 14 games, they're established. Phil, I think when you go and look, you can debate how good Texas or A&M or any of these teams were last year, but you beat in the same season Penn State, Texas A&M, LSU. You knocked off the Pirate, Mississippi State. That's saying something. That gets people's attention.
The Auburn game was just fluky. Yeah,
it was I watched that one too. It was weird. It was Arkansas didn't play as well in that one, but they were very consistent. Considering where this program at Arkansas was in 2019. Yeah, where they got beat by Western Kentucky at home 45-19.
Yeah, they were floating down to the abyss.
Or they were in the abyss. To get them to where they are now, that's fine. Evan chimes in. I was not impressed with Bell running the ball either. He was running a bit timid, trying to stiff arm everybody instead of using his explosiveness when he hits the hole. Evan, the thing about him is too, I think maybe he was trying to be patient and not boom. Like, I don't know. I like Jaheim, Phil, getting about 4 to 7. He only had 7 carries the other night. He did lead the team in rushing. Mm-hmm. I like Jaheim getting between 4 and 7 carries a game. Scrimmage, maybe less, if his touches are more in the passing game or whatever. I actually do like the Jaheim at fullback, give him the fullback dive. I think he's good at that. We'll see sort of what happens. Reminder that Christian Bill Smith is back this week, and so his carries have to come from somewhere. All right, so the predictions are rolling in on the Nana Sports chat box. Queasy says 42-24, good guys. It's a big-time prediction there, man.
Love to see it.
Jay says 31-28. Cox win on the last-minute field goal. Twisted Chicken, 27-17 Gamecocks. We have believers. Dexter says 30-27, good guys. John says the General 36, Private Portingham 26. By the way, if you've ever been to an Arkansas message board, Arkansas and South Carolina probably have two of the, as far as all the usernames go, the most creative out there. I think over there, they'll use sausage. Oh, that's part of a big sausage, things like that. Big sausage. Anyway, Daddy-O says I gave this yesterday and it ain't changed. Cox 37, Hawks 24. Craig says 27-23 Gamecocks. I've not felt good about it all week, but a Beamer I trust. Clint says 27-24 Carolina was my prediction Tuesday night on Keith Allsep's Town Hall. That's Locked On the Gamecocks podcast, by the way. I'll stick with that. Will definitely be a tough game. Evan says, here's to hoping Sat dials them up on Saturday. 41-38 Gamecocks. That'd be interesting. Will says 31-24 Gamecocks. Jamie Bradford's prediction.
Jamie's already into the whiskey, it looks like.
Yeah. Bradford, what the hell are you doing, man?
He's following your lead from last week.
Out the beer at 7 a.m. Go Cox. You guys went 77-3. Rattler with 560 yards, 5 touchdowns. Juice 185-2. Bell 135-2. Lloyd 225-4. Juju 100-yard kick return. Would we take a knee on the 2 before breaking 80?
Just so they don't feel too bad.
Spurrier be like, well, if I thought it was bad, they lost like that on homecoming in 2013.
Right.
Carolina boy. Oh, shoot. Rick says 28-20 good guys. Stacy says 34-17 Gamecocks. Big game from Josh Van. Interesting. Yeah, Josh Van, Austin Stodner, Xavier Leggett. Those are 3 guys I'm looking, and Amarian Brown too. I'm looking for those guys to be more of a factor this week. And I know I just mentioned 4 guys. They're not all going to, if the Gamecocks have a lot of possessions and throw it 57 times a game, then maybe. But need more out of Van and Stogner in the passing game. So happy. This is Gamecocks by 2 50-plus yard field goals and 2 scoop and scores. Like a 20-7, and that would cause some conversation. Number one, I think, so say they won 20-7 with 2 scoop and scores and 2 50-yard field goals. I think everybody would love Clayton White, in the defense, but I don't know that anybody would be too happy with the offense.
Yeah.
If that happens. Saunders says, I want some of what Jamie's having. He says, I'm not sure what's funnier, the 77 or the 3. How they get 3?
How'd they get 3?
We got 3. Go Hawks.
Hey, he forgot to mention Kai Kroger not punting, but actually throwing for a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. Good last year.
Yep.
Remember that? The Peyton. By the way, congratulations to Peyton Mangrum. He's the recipient. He got put on scholarship, but he also won the Panis walk-on scholarship. The Jake Panis thing. One day we'll have Mr. Panis on and we'll talk about Jake and all that. It's a sad but triumphant story.
Yeah, and I won't hold it against him that he's an Eastside grad.
That's right.
Yeah.
Eastside Eagles, baby. You know who else is an Eastside grad? Hale McGranahan.
Was it really?
And my ex-wife. And Andre
Goodman.
Goodman.
That.
And Andre Goodman.
Yep.
So, Eastside. Yeah, he is the Eastside guy. He's one of the better players they've had for a long time. Jamie's daddy said, Jamie said, leave the punt team at home. VJ said, JB, I love it, but pace yourself, broski. All right, so going back and forth with this game, I told myself I got to base my pick on what I see. There's going to be no big shocker pick this week like I did last week. I'm going to stay conservative. Now that I kind of think about it and I dug into as Flint confirmed and some others confirmed for me, the perimeter blocking, that's stuff that's correctable. That's not like you're dead in the water. That's like, okay, guys, you all screwed up the 3-point stance last week. When you're coaching little kids or something, you couldn't get in your stance last week, so we're going to work on it in practice. And you can, these guys have done it before. They blocked before. I've seen those receivers block before.
Yeah.
Along with the offensive line. That makes me feel a little better. I do feel like there's going to be some opportunities downfield for the Gamecocks in this game. I don't make a whole lot out of so you can't. I've said all week you can't replace Catalan, and he's out because he's special player. But I think they have an adequate replacement back there, and be careful with that, and all that good stuff. So, but I do think there'll be some opportunities downfield. I do expect a better blocking performance across the board. Arkansas's offense, I don't think Carolina's going to be able to shut them down like they did Georgia State, and only allow drive at the end, I think Arkansas will be able to put some points on the Gamecocks, and that's probably not even indicative of what kind of defense the Gamecocks will have. Arkansas puts points on just about everybody, the exception being Georgia last year with a historically great defense. I'm going to go 31-26 Razorbacks. And it'll be a sad loss because the Gamecocks will have their opportunities. I hope I'm wrong, just like all of you. And I'll gladly be 1-1 on the year in my picks. I could care less about my picks. I don't even like making them anyway, Phil.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what do we know? No.
I hate them. So
the scenario way is the way to go, but you don't know what kind of scenarios
it's not compelling radio to give scenarios. I mean, that's boring. So anyway, 31-26 Hogs on the road, that kind of thing. But I do think Carolina will give a good account of itself, and I just think this is a good football team, a good football program they're playing. I think they've learned how to win, but not the Gamecocks might not quite be there yet. I'm going to answer Ryan's question. I just said BJ Gibson was backing up Inamori. What do you know about him? He came in last year as a walk-on from Navy. He's about 6'3", 6'4". Thought he looked really good in the spring game. Was a scholarship guy at Navy. Then that wasn't for him. So he's from Atlanta, an Atlanta guy. Probably didn't hear much about him last year, but he did play well in the spring game. I've got a lot of faith in BJ. I mean, the coaches, the defensive backs coaches here, Torian Gray basically, trust them. Mm-hmm. I've learned. Oh my God, Jalen Foster and Darius Rush are starting. They're going to get lit up in the secondary, and I think the Gamecocks led the SEC in pass defense. Phil, give us your take and prediction, and we'll wrap it up for the week.
All right. Well, like I said, I think you need to get a bit more creative in the run game. I think Rattler needs to, do a bit more intentional running and not just scrambling. I'd like to see Jaheim Bell's usage shift a bit more away from the run game or get a little bit more creative. But you still got to run the ball. I think you got to throw the ball to open up the run this week because you get a big old front to go against, and you might be able to take advantage of a depleted secondary, although not completely depleted, but a little banged up. I think defensively we see Cam be a bit more of a corner as opposed to the nickel, kind of move him to the outside. That way you can focus our efforts into the middle of this defense. I see some good things on special teams happening, not necessarily some scoop and scores like everybody wants to see, but we're coming around. We can flip the field, vertical field position, vertical field position. Although we do have the ability to, make that happen for us. Now, that being said, you got a hell of a team we're playing, and they are probably a year ahead of us. But considering that, they won some games last year that they weren't supposed to. And I think we are going to have a fine showing on the road. And I see this game going 34-31 South Carolina.
Big time pick, Phil. Big time breakdown. Big time fit pick. I think Jamie Bradford's pick was outstanding.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
Oh yeah. All right. So Des Benitez, just to wrap a bow on this, Todd, Boom, touchdown DK, bring out the mayonnaise. Yeah. So Craig also says I'm expecting Anthony Rose to not redshirt. Do you think he does? I think he does right now.
Barring injury?
Answer I got on, well, he made those answer I got on him is he needs to get a lot stronger. And Clayton White alluded to that press conference this week, but who knows? Yeah, the other guys and that's kind of good because Rose is going to be one of the better ones, and he enrolled early, and then guys like Nelson and Floyd and K1 Banks got in last week. I mean, they think they knocked it out of the park with this secondary class they signed in 2022. I was probably not as high on the group as the reality, of it. And Greg says Flint Fridays are great. I was afraid we'd never hear from him again when JB and Goldwater pulled the plug. When we started this, he was one of the first guys I wanted to have on, and I guess you guys saw why. I mean, that was a tremendous breakdown. We've had two good breakdowns with G.A. Mangus and Michael Flynn back to back. That was pretty cool. All right, folks, enjoy the game tomorrow. There's only 12 game days that you're guaranteed.
Yeah.
Hopefully 13, hopefully 14, 15 sometimes, but 12 in a year. And so enjoy it. Noon kickoff, Fayetteville, Arkansas. ESPN will do the televising. So you should be able to catch it at your favorite watering hole if you're not in Fayetteville. For those of you in Fayetteville, have a safe trip. And all that good stuff. And Bradford has another hot take. I wish people would take it easy on the Birch ordeal at UT. He's completed 100% of his passes, just the wrong team.
There was a moment in the game last night where no passes had been dropped, but they, weren't necessarily all thrown to the right players.
McVeigh. Anyway, for Phil Mullinax, it's JC Sherbert. Thank you so much to all our sponsors and all of our listeners, our Nana Sports chat boxers. It's always live. All of our wonderful guests we've had all week will be back on Monday to talk about the game, to review everything. Probably have a guest or two Monday, I would guess. And also you guys. We appreciate all of you. Our audience numbers are going crazy through the roof. Don't forget Manscaped, 20% off, code Big Spur. And gosh, I'm having trouble letting go today, Phil.
I know, man. You just want to keep it rolling, right?
Keep it rolling, but
it's been fun, y'all. We've had a great week.
Yeah, we've had a great week. So we'll talk to you on Monday. For Phil Mullinax, JC Sherbert, this has been Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Enjoy the day tomorrow. Again, there's only